Welcome to today's podcast. This is your Rubies of Grace host, Rose Nyama. Rubies of Grace podcast promote the principles of love, respect, mutual agreement, unity, integrity, and trust within our diverse relationships. We are God's jewels beautifully crafted to radiate His image and light in this world. It is such a pleasure to be sharing this podcast on relationships matter with you. I do hope that you can come with me on this journey for us to better our relationships because relationships matter. Today's podcast on mutuality is a fourth core relationship concept that we'll be considering in this relationship concept series. Mutuality is a core relationship concept that can act as an acid test in a relationship to determine if the friends, the couple, partners have one mind, one goal, or if one person has deviated in any way. A Bible text for today's podcast is from the book of Amos, chapter 3, verse 3. Reading from the Message Bible version, it says, "Do two people walk hand in hand if they aren't going to the same place?" This is the reading of God's word. What does it mean to you for two people to walk hand in hand? Note that this hand-in-hand walk or agreement, as translated in other Bible versions, is only possible when two people are going to the same place, heading towards the same direction, towards the same goal, or towards the same purpose. Mutuality is a noun, and it is defined as sharing of a feeling, action, or relationship between two or more parties. Mutuality is also defined as behavior in which two or more people or groups feel the same emotion or do the same thing or for each other. Note the key word here is the same emotion, do the same thing to each other or for each other. I was intrigued to learn that mutuality is a noun. From basic knowledge in English, nouns are names or what we call people, animals, places, etc. Your knowledge of English language may be better than mine, but permit me to ask, could mutuality be the name of your relationship? Can people refer to your relationship as mutual? Mutuality doesn't mean doing the exact same things or giving the same amount at all times, but it does mean that both people are contributing in meaningful and balanced ways in that relationship. A mutual relationship means both partners are equally invested in the relationship, either emotionally, mentally, and practically. Mutuality is about give and take, shared responsibility, and respecting each other's needs, each other's goals, and well-being. Please note that the key words here are equally invested or equal investment, such that both parties contribute emotionally, mentally, and practically in their relationship. Mutuality completely eliminates the feeling of imbalance or resentment that can grow over time unnoticed. In a mutual relationship, there is bound to be shared effort. Both parties will contribute to the relationship's emotional and practical needs. Example, this is seen in communication, which we looked at a few podcasts before this one. Support that you give to each other, decision making, household tasks, and other things that might be important in that relationship. These efforts need not to be equally shared, but it's imperative that if we want to talk about mutuality, that one person isn't always doing the heavy lifting and the other person is doing the minor. In mutuality, there's emotional reciprocity, care, empathy, and emotional labor go both ways. Emotional labor does not fall or rest on one partner. One partner doesn't always have to be the one to comfort, be the one to listen to, or be the one to always make compromise, whilst the other person just receives. That is not mutual. One person does not always have to give and the other mostly take. It is give and take by both parties. Both parties apologize as needed. Both parties take accountability when needed in a mutual relationship. In a mutual relationship, there's respect for each other's needs. Each person's goals, their boundaries, and experiences are valued. Respect for each other's time. There's respect for each other's energy. There's respect for each other's feelings. There is no disregard for the other person's needs or the other person's time or stress. All parties regard each other. That is what is available, obtainable in mutuality or in a mutual relationship. There is room for both to grow, for both of you to grow together as well as grow individually. That is mutuality. There is equality in power. Decisions are made together. Decisions are not controlled by one person. There is no one-sided decision making or decision control. There is no emotional manipulation, no guilt tripping or coercion that exists in mutuality. However, there is supportive interdependence. And this means that you can rely on each other in healthy ways. You're not too dependent, neither are you too detached. But you rely on each other in healthy ways. No one person is controlling the other. There's supportive interdependence. You support each other's personal goals. The theme in such mutual relationships is we're in all this, we need together. That is a mindset if you want to have a mutual relationship. Not you owe me. Neither should it be I handle it all. You cannot handle it all. It has to be shared. Everyone in the relationship feels emotionally safe and heard when this happens, when there's a mutual relationship. With mutuality, you're there for each other. You're there to hold each other in times when one is feeling stressed, in times when one is feeling down, in times when the other person needs encouraging. You do not undermine how they feel. You're there to support each other. Remember, it's a give and take. It should not be one-sided. If it's one-sided, it becomes overburdening the other party. It becomes a very easy recipe for burnout. It becomes a very easy recipe for one to feel not noticed, for one to even feel used. That is very bad for people to feel that way. Where there is mutual relationship, it eliminates that feeling of imbalance. It eliminates resentment. Remember, resentment can grow over time unnoticed. You could be in a relationship that was once healthy, and over time, because things are no longer mutual, there's no shared effort. The party who seems to be carrying most of the responsibilities starts to breed resentment over time. And this can easily become like a volcano when it erupts with very damaging consequences. When there's mutuality, it's about give and take. It's about shared responsibility. It's about respecting each other's needs. Have a mutual goal. Respect each other's well-being. Have proper discussions. Engage in active listening. Engage in effective communication. Communicate your needs clearly and respectfully. And listen to the other party when they communicate their own needs without interrupting. Remember, with effective communication, you're engaging with the person when they are communicating their needs, when they are communicating their opinions. You listen effectively or listen actively. You check your understanding of what they've said. to make sure you understand them correctly, to eliminate any aspects or misunderstanding or misinformation. This helps with mutuality. You discuss your goals. Two cannot work together unless they have a common goal, a common purpose. Otherwise, you'll be working separate ways and think you're still working together. I don't know where you might be in your relationships. I don't know what your relationship's goal may be. But remember, mutuality is a noun. As an individual, can you call your relationship a mutual relationship? Can you describe your relationship as a mutual relationship? If that is not the case, what can you do differently? What will you resolve to change? We have already established that mutuality doesn't mean doing the exact same things or giving the same amount at all times. However, it means that both of you are contributing in meaningful and balanced ways. One might do a bit more than the other party. That's okay, as long as both of you are contributing in meaningful and balanced ways. What I am contributing should be meaningful to my partner or to my spouse. What my spouse is contributing should be meaningful and balanced to me as well. Both of us should be equally invested. If you want a healthy relationship, if you want a mutual relationship, there should be equal investment. Equal in this case doesn't mean the same. However, it means that both of you should be contributing emotionally. It might not be in equal measures. Both of you should be contributing mentally. And both of you should be contributing practically, but in meaningful and balanced ways in your relationship. What will you resolve to do today? What will you change in your behavior? Will you choose to feel the same emotion or to do the same thing with the person you have a relationship with? Because that's the only way it can be a mutual relationship. You have to have a common goal. You have to be headed in the same direction. You have to have a common interest, which means you have to share efforts, which means you have to be able to rely on each other, which means you should be able to care for each other, show empathy, and emotional labor should be both ways. Decision making should be mutual. Think of how you're going to share household tasks. Think about your communication. Think about the support you provide for each other. Both parties should apologize and take accountability when needed in mutual relationships. It shouldn't be just one person compromising all the time. It shouldn't be one person always providing the comfort. It shouldn't be one person always doing the listening while the other one receives. There should be respect for each other's needs. There should be respect for each other's goals. Your goals, your boundaries, your experiences should be valued by the other person. The same way you should learn to value their own goals, their own boundaries, and their own experiences. Energy, time, feelings should be mutually respected and a regard for each other's needs, not just one-sided. Remember, when there's mutuality, there is room for both of you to grow together as well as to grow individually. You might grow in your career. You might grow in even in your own behavior, character. You might grow in different things, mature in different things. But it's good to grow together as well, as friends, as partners, as spouses. Don't forget about supportive interdependence. Because with this, in that relationship, everyone feels emotionally safe and heard. I do hope that today's podcast will ignite a desire to nurture your relationships and to consider areas where you need to make a change, where you need to adapt or add more juice, which implies to add vigor, energy, interest, and excitement. Tune in for more. Until next time, do your best because relationships matter.